All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Green White Checkered TV. Tonight we have the second to last race here of the Area 51 Dark Horse series, and we are here tonight at Kentucky Motor Speedway for 125 laps, and we'll see who's going to be able to come out on top of this one this evening. As drivers just now putting down their qualifying laps as we speak. Tonight work on getting rid of my echo there, apologies. But yeah, so right now we're saying, like I said, we're going for qualifying, putting those laps down. Championship race right now looking like it might, I wouldn't say it's a done deal, but mathematically it's gonna take a lot, and it's honestly gonna take a certain Craig Forsyth probably not making one of these next two races and Matt having to really kind of do max points. So I think from my numbers, I want to say max points you can get in a race is 55. So basically for Craig, he just needs to make sure he comes out of tonight with a 55-point lead. And pretty much I think starting the race will lock him into the field. So we'll wait to see. Obviously, got to make sure all of that's all kind of P's and Q's and all those line up. But looking very good for Craig. Unfortunately, obviously the big story, Matt not able to run last week with the internet issues. And that's a tough one to be able to handle. And Andrew, I don't know if you've been in that kind of a situation where you're going for maybe not for a championship, but just a race that you're like, I've got this one like kind of circled in my calendar or whatever, and then something happens via hardware of like your internet, your the computer itself. I mean, how is that one? How tough is that one to handle in those situations?
Yeah, I can't actually relate to a computer issue. I've actually never had any computer or internet issues in this racing. Knock on wood, knock on myself, of course. But it's definitely one of those things that even if it's not a hardware issue or anything like that, if you mark down a certain race on your calendar that you feel like you have what it takes to win there, if you have some sort of trick that some of the other guys in the field don't have, and that gets taken away from you, it's so jarring and it's so disappointing to live through that, because you know that you were the guy that could maybe start kind of mid-pack and kind of hang out for a bit, but then go when you want to go. And if that gets taken away from you, that's such a hard thing to deal with. Um, but it's something that is very, very pertinent to this field, because this field is so close and this field has such great talent in it. And if that gets taken away from you, then you have to sit back and wonder, okay, where can I go next that I can have the same sort of advantage? So it's definitely very disappointing, but these guys are racers. They're going to put that behind them and then come to the next race and figure out what they got to do to get forward again.
Yeah, I think that's almost it. Is it kind of puts that bit between your teeth even more so going forward to that next race. Like, all right, I'm gonna make up for whatever happened coming to next week's race. So for Matt, that's here at Kentucky, obviously. So it's like I said, didn't get to do what he was hoping to last week. So we'll see what he's got in the store. Like I said, qualifying going on as we speak, but. I mean, I'll say we'll pull the points up one more time here because we were talking about the championship battle. But again, there's still some close battles. That podium spot. Charles Teed not here tonight. He's having to be a good dad. I think I would say he's taking his daughter to a volleyball tournament, I believe it was. But so Teed does say definitely miss you tonight. But I think we'd all be making the same decision as you there. But I say so that's going to let Gary Laverne jump him in that point spot for that third position at the moment. So to keep an eye on that one. And then a little bit of a gap to Yari Brupacher. He and Casey Putski only 22 apart between the two of them, and then only 7 between Casey and Jeff Hysong. So yeah, and actually I think the bigger story, actually is he not? I don't think he's in the server. I was going to say we could give him a really hard time, but I think he knew that was going to be a mistake, because I hear there's a certain birthday boy who's 8th in points here tonight.
Yeah, Christopher is definitely one of the regulars on the series now. We're kind of running a part-time schedule now, but if it's his birthday today, happy birthday, Chris, if you're watching. But if he's actually celebrating his birthday, I'm sure he wants to spend it elsewhere other than on iRacing tonight. So
That hurts.
hope he's enjoying his time. But yeah, I would imagine if he showed up tonight, it may be a little bit of birthday luck if that were the case.
Yeah, I'll say that's exactly it. You gotta go for it where you can. So, but yeah, so it looks like qualifying has just completed. We're gonna pull up that starting grid for tonight's event. And so on pole position though tonight is going to be Eric Peterson, and it is triple zeros between he and Craig Forsyth. So it went to the what be the tenth of thousandth of a second if I have that right. But yeah, so really close between those two. Yari Brubacher only 4 thousandths off in third, and then a whopping 21 thousandths back Matt Wagner there in fourth. So really close for those top three in qualifying. Jeff Heisong, Gary Laverne there, fifth and sixth, row three. Row four, Jim Herrick, Raphael Reynolds. Then Casey Putski and Nick DeGroot are top 10. Nick rolling in very late here in practice, but glad to have him here tonight. Then you got Raphael Eckert, Brad Adams. As we continue running down the order, you've got Elmer Joseph, Jim Brooks, William Svensson, Rick Sanchez, and Bill Colley. So those will be our 17 drivers for tonight. Looks like got about 4 more drivers are waiting to take the grid. But yeah, like I said, it's going to be Mr. Eric Peterson on pole here tonight.
Yeah, this is actually a very nice field after having kind of a few races in the middle of the season here where we had less than 12 or so. So it's actually good to see some interest pick back up again. And maybe they're getting ready for next season, just kind of trying out. I see a couple new names here from some other series. So it's good to get some new folks out here and see how they stack up against the rest of these good guys.
Yeah, and that's one of the ones I'll say the number 5 car, Rick Sanchez. Like, I mean, obviously I do a lot of broadcasting, so very familiar with that 5 car. I say he's very, as a Nick's rolling straight to the pit road there. Actually looks like he's got a little bit of connection hiccup there. That might be why he was doing that. But yeah, Rick Sanchez in the 5. He's pretty much almost a regular over on the super speedway side Thursdays and Sundays. But he's really been trying to get into these cars and get familiar with them and learn them and have fun with them. I was actually talking to him a little bit pre-race, and he said, yeah, it's like he really enjoys them. He's having a lot of fun with them. But at the same time, he's trying to make sure he doesn't do anything to affect the outcome of anybody's championship hopes, or even just the points side of things too, even if it's not for the top 2. So I think he's the same thing, just trying to work his way into it, kind of learn it, get comfortable, and have fun with it. So yeah, so it's really fun to see guys like that kind of hop in and just kind of expand their knowledge for different types of racing with the different cars.
Well, it's interesting you say that because you and I in our private chats have discussed perhaps me giving the NASCAR stuff a try, and I feel like it would kind of be the same thing. I'm pretty handy in these IR18s, but if I were to actually get ourselves into some sort of NASCAR situation, it would be definitely one of those things where I want to do well, but I want to enhance my skills a little bit. So it would be interesting to see if we actually go there.
Yeah, there won't be any swap drafting over on that one. I think they may have extended the caution an extra lap. I think they're trying to get things squared away for that number 89 car, if I'm not mistaken. So I think we're going to see the field go back around one more time. Yeah, you see lights on the pace car. So I think they're trying to get Nick squared away there because every so often we'll see him kind of flash up. I saw him for a second behind Bill Colley, and then he kind of shows up. He disappears. He shows up. Yeah, so exactly there. That's kind of the telltale of a connection issue. So he's trying to get it worked out. I think the Adamant's trying to work with him, give him a little bit of kind of time to help this out, and really shouldn't change anything on the fuel mileage side of things, as well as actually got one drop into the apron here as well, and actually jump into pit road. There's the 064. So it's already things kind of jumping off here a little early.
I think it's very good to try and sort out any sort of connection issues early on here, because if it goes racing and you're kind of in the middle of the field and there's something that goes on, it could be a little problematic. So yeah, just maybe take one lap out of the race here just to make sure everything is pretty sorted, and then we'll get racing here. So stay patient, stay tight. We'll be racing here shortly.
Yeah, but I'm saying it looks like Nick is really smoothed out. Looks like the connection seems to be pretty comfortable. And you can see also he went ahead and he was able to get an end of the line for the restart, or for the start, I should say. So not a big drop from 10th to 16th right now. So, but like you said, though, it gets him out of the middle of the pack. That way there's no risk or anything like that. So, again, just I think a really cool move by him to make sure he doesn't affect anybody. Again, he's thinking for those guys, too. He's kind of a part-timer. So with that, pace car is now off. The flagman will control the initial start here, but it will be Eric Peterson, Craig Forsyth on that front row as the green flag is out, and we are underway 125 laps here at Kentucky. And right now, Eric Peterson's going to have just a nose ahead in ring one.
One thing I do want to point out, as I was watching the cars come to green here, that sun is coming right behind those grandstands out of turn 4, and that's another thing that kind of catches drivers out too, is that you have the line of sight for all the cars ahead, but then all of a sudden that sun hits your eyes, and maybe you might be a little bit higher than you think, and something like that. I'm watching Jim Brooks right now. He's very high through turn 4. That sun obviously will set, but that's something that the drivers could be concerned about here in the opening laps. But it looks like we're 2x2 up at the front and not really a lot of movement so far.
Yeah, it looks like Eric able to hold on for lap number 1 there. Yari's again going to send it in. And say another thing we haven't mentioned is this is kind of the reverse of Texas. So 1 and 2, you can pretty much go foot to the floor here, but in 3 and 4, you got to back it down. So yeah, so these guys are going to be running this track again very differently here. So it's almost, you really want to set the pass up at a turn 2, get the big run, use the draft, and try to get that rotation entering 3. And I think, again, 3 is going to be where we see everybody start to kind of fan out and try to position themselves to get that clean air and try to find that. And like you mentioned, Jim Brooks, he's one that I know loves to run the top side if he can go higher than anybody else. And I do think this could be one of those tracks where that outside line in 3 and 4 could come into play if you can kind of keep that momentum, keep that just that speed up there, and yeah, get the good exit off.
Both sides of these tracks, turn 1 and 2 and turn 3 and 4, are so different. If you enter turn 3 with any sort of dirty air on the bottom line, it's really going to mess you up through the whole rest of the corner. This is such a unique track compared to a lot of these 1.5 mile tracks that race on. So you can really kind of send it in turn 1 and 2. And like you were mentioning before, if you really want to set up the move in 3 and 4, you kind of want to offset a little bit onto the outside in order to try and get the run going on the outside as the cars get tight down below. Jim Brooks is making the move right now as we speak. Back here, I'm still watching him on Brad Adams. He did that right on the outside, exactly kind of how I narrated it. Just kind of found his way right to the middle of turn 1 and 2, and then kind of found the outside of turn 3 and 4. So let's watch Jim Brooks to see if he can make some moves, especially on Casey Hudspeth coming up here.
Yes, and actually in doing so, he actually ran the fastest lap of the race that last time by 24:49. And yeah, he is full rim right, but like you said, oh man, the angle there was too far away to see, or too close to see. But it looked like he was definitely flirting with the wall there. Out of 4, we saw one just catch the wall. I think that was maybe Brad Adams got a piece of it there on entry to turn 1. But so far, it looks like he's going to be okay. But yeah, like you said, though, Jim Brooks has a bead right now on that number 3 car. And like you said, though, too, and it's something we got to keep an eye on as well, as there's times where it was working. We saw last week he was really good up top, but he just didn't have that confidence at times to get to the bottom. So we'll see. Maybe he learned something, maybe adjust a little bit from this week to from last week to this week. But I'm going to jump back up here because Yari and Eric Peterson, great fight for the lead right now.
Yeah, going back to Jim for a second, I actually really like this line he's running right now. He's kind of burning the the right front and the right rear very evenly, kind of burning the right front in the turn 1 and 2, and then kind of using whatever kind of drive they have at a 3 and 4 on the right rear. And it's really paying off because he's caught up to this whole pack of cars up in the top 10. He just makes his way past Bohusky there. And let's see if he keeps us going. And if you wear the right front, the right rear evenly, it actually might kind of pay off, especially if you have the tools right. I think Jim's going to start making his way forward.
Yeah, he's already to the outside of Jeff Hysong. Got a nose ahead here. Again, this will be the harder part of this, though, because, again, he's going to have the longer distance around. However, Jeff's also going to have dirty air, so Jeff might have to roll out of the throttle, and that's going to, I think, help that 51. And, yeah, sure enough, he's going to clear the 50. The 51 is going to clear the 18, and move himself now up into the 8th position, 6 spots up since the start of this race. And, he had to check up there to get, I think, to avoid contact with Jeff, or no, I'm not sure who it was, Jim Herrick, I believe. Able to save it, does some off-roading there through the grass. We're watching it as it happened, and is gonna hang on to this one. He's gonna have the 64. Oh my goodness, sneak just his inside there. And unfortunately, he's gonna have to kind of regroup, and at this point, gonna have to hope for a yellow, unfortunately, to bring him back in the mix, but that was definitely quite the off-road excursion.
I think that's one of those that every car ahead of him was kind of getting tight, and he had to run on the outside. But once the cars get tight ahead of you, everyone starts to push up the track, and then suddenly you realize that your lane runs out. So I think that was good avoidance by Jim there. He didn't lose a lap or anything, so that's good, but it's something that he's probably going to use later, and maybe from now he'll just kind of hang out and ride around and just make sure that he stays on the lead lap and everything. But if we have a caution later, I think he's found the recipe to try and make some moves later on. But yeah, unfortunate for Jim there. It looks like he was going to really start making moves to the pack. But we see that this top 7 is still sitting really, really tight line astern from 1st through 8th or so.
Yeah, everybody's tacked on pretty close. So Yari has gotten around Eric Peterson now for the lead. Good battle here with Gary Laverne and Craig Forsyth. Right now they're battling in the top 5, 4th and 5th respectively. Raphael Reynolds, though, you can see he's been also starting to creep into the mix there as well. And same thing, he's been trying to make moves, but just hasn't been able to find that momentum. And you can see, again, you see Craig towards the bottom. That moves the 13 to the middle. And then, or sorry, the 32 to the bottom, 13 middle, and then the 40 all the way to the top. And actually, I think Jim has hit pit road. I'm wondering if maybe some of that off-roading maybe upset maybe the pan or underbelly or whatever of the car. But it looks like he's hit pit road, so we'll keep an eye and see if anything comes of that. But right now, though, like you said, looks like top 10 are all still in this main pack. I think Elmer Joseph and company, they kind of fell off the back just due to everything that had happened there earlier. So they're having to try to kind of regroup after all that off-roading.
I'm watching Yari is kind of taking that same sort of strategy as Jim. He's going a little bit higher in 3 and 4, especially to offset from Eric a little bit. You can see he takes the middle line there. Maybe not as high as the last lap, but there are a couple cars behind that are trying to find that high line as well. And it's the same thing. It's once you commit to it, that's the faster line, especially if all the other cars are sort of struggling in the dirty air there. So I think for the most part, these guys will pretty much stay line astern right now. They're not going to make too many moves unless someone really messes up in dirty air. And I think the pit stop's really going to start to dictate everything.
Yeah, so we did get a fuel number again about that low to mid 40 window. I think mid 40s was more realistically what I was hearing. So yeah, so I'll have to keep an eye on that for sure. And again, right now, still a situation where the top 10 all locked on together from 1st to 10th. And then it's about almost 4 seconds now back to these guys here, and then another little gap to Nick DeGroot. So I'll say, I think Nick, again, I think he's been maybe fighting some gremlins a little bit. It seems like it's kind of settled in a bit. And then also the 064 of Raphael Eckert, he actually started from the pits. And, I mean, he's actually gotten pretty close to just about to pick up the draft of Nick DeGroot. So not too bad of a situation for him. But I'm going back up front, though, because Matt's going for a 2-for-1 here. Got Yari trying to get Eric Peterson. Won't quite clear him out of turn number 4. But we'll see. He should have the short distance, though, through 1 and 2.
I think that turn 3 and 4 is such a hard situation to put yourself on the inside to make the pass, unless you really have a lot of clean air and you have your tool set just right. If you're really going for it, you've got to hope that some of the cars on the outside are all kind of following the outside line together and kind of slowing each other down. So that I think it's going to be very difficult. These guys are mostly, they might move 1 or 2 positions back or forward based on the dirty air situation, but this is pretty much what we're going to see for the rest of the stint here until we start our fuel pit stop rotation.
Yeah, and right now, as we were talking about a little earlier, Raphael Reynolds, he's been moving a little bit forward here. He's gotten around Gary Laverne. He's trying to get that big momentum here out of 4 to try to make a move on Craig Forsyth. He's gotten right through that rear wing. But again, I think now it's where you use 3 and 4, try to set that pass up so he enters high. I think we'll see him probably start to arc it down, steal a little bit of draft here down the back. And again, I think the way to go is if you can run that top side, keep that momentum built up, because pretty much all these guys are dedicated to that bottom lane like we've been watching. And yeah, there you go. Look at that. He gets that big run off top. And again, maybe he was able to see in the mirror what the 51 was doing, or same thing, like I said, just I got to go somewhere different. And then it's like, oh, this is working pretty well. So yeah, I keep an eye out for that 13 to start making some moves forward.
I think that the way through 1 and 2 is just so easy on the bottom line that you get all your speed back. Anything you lost in 3 and 4, you could easily get back 1 and 2 just from the banking of how 1 and 2 is on this track. So you have to really complete it like almost through turn 4 towards start finish in order to really kind of pin the car down on the inside on 1 and 2 to make the pass.
Yeah, so far hasn't been able to get there yet. This time you see Craig's gone to the top, and that's going to give Raphael just all the dirty air. Look so much how he had to back off of it, which gave Gary Laverne here a big run out of 4. he won't be able to capitalize on it as of yet, but that's what happens if you just get in the wrong position there, kind of almost guess wrong, if you will. So you get that dirty air fed onto your front wing, and yeah, you've got to make some quick adjustments in those situations. And we've got a second pack now with Bill Cawley leading these guys, because now you've got all of these guys all together. Elmer Joseph, Brad Adams, William Svensson, Nick DeGroot, and Raphael Eckert. They've all gotten back together here. So now you've got this group from 11th to 16th. And again, still have that main pack here from 1st to 10th as well. So right now, kind of a 2-pack race. Let's say the 51, again, he's off sequence, so he's kind of out by his own, unfortunately. 2 laps down at the moment. But again, some of the guys will have to pit here in probably about the next, I'd say, maybe 15, 20 laps or so. I think we'll start to see that pit window officially open.
I think that I'm actually kind of shocked how close these guys are all staying together. We got pretty much like a 1/10 of a second, 1 to 2/10 of a second amongst most of the top 8 here, and that's actually falling a lot closer than I imagined. But I think that has to do with the fact that, like I mentioned before, in turn 1 and 2, you really gain a lot of time back, especially just following a car, just based on how severe the banking is. As we watch Craig Forsyth here in 4th place, he's really just taking the bottom line, but he's also saving fuel, which just is more indicative of how this is going. You can definitely tell that a lot of the cars behind completely just come right up behind him as he's doing it, and he's sort of falling back a little bit on the straightaways, but you can get it all back from turn 1 and 2 through the back straight through 3 and 4.
Yeah, exactly right. We're, like I said, you run that fuel map, and they're going to pull you a little bit on the straightaways, but you can pull it right back in there. So he just also has to be you almost have to trust the guy behind you not to send it in too deep or things of that nature. So the 5 is starting just a little bit now to fall off the back of these guys here. He's still within that second window, so draft should still be there. But maybe this car's starting not to handle as well as he would like it to be. And I can tell you, Bill Cawley, though, he's actually broken free of that pack behind. Raphael Eckert, he's now just gone up through those guys, now up into the second of that pack. But Bill Cawley's done a really good job of kind of stretching out. And actually, last time by, he was about a 10th quicker. And actually, speaking of the 5 car, I was going to say he's entering pit road. I'm not sure if that may have not been a planned pit road entry for Rick here. So you actually already see him sliding through. So
no, that was a little bit of a weight jacker issue from what I see. That's gonna be a speeding penalty.
Oh yeah, that's a big step out there.
Unsafe pit entry is actually what I was trying to say.
Unsafe entry, speeding. Yeah, he's gonna be hanging out there for a little while, unfortunately. So we'll jump back live though now. As I say, this pack has gotten really tight. Eric Peterson's
getting
thrown himself.
spicy up here.
Yeah. Let's say Yari got the lead back for a bit. Now Peterson's throwing his hat into the ring, and these guys are starting to get dicey and trying to get into that position now to have a chance to go after it.
It's actually kind of really switched up more than I thought. Matt Widener kind of came out of nowhere and took the lead, and I wonder if that's just Peterson and Yari that were trying to really battle for it, and maybe they kind of push up the track a little bit and gave Matt some opportunity to get underneath. But I think we're very close to the pit stops too. We're about 10 laps away, especially if you want to do this on 2 stops. You got to get it all the way to about 43 or so, 42, 43. You want to go as long as you can on the first stop so you save some more laps later on, obviously, to do it in 2 stops. So maybe some of these guys that have just been kind of hanging out saving fuel may want to take a run at the front now to make sure they have the most optimum advantage when they do their pit stops.
Yeah, of course, you want to try to pit as far forward as you can. We're on board here with Raphael Reynolds, and great run out of 4. You can see he's going to stay to the outside of Craig here. But again, though, Craig's going to probably hold the bottom here. Again, just depends where the guys around him are. And you see right there, Eric Peterson, he kind of ran more of the second lane, so that actually helped Craig in that situation. So again, it's a guessing game of where these guys are going to be. Now you can see the dirty air from the 49 of Yari Brubacher. That went onto the front wing of Raphael, and that really slowed his momentum down there on that outside line. So that's kind of the ebb and flow of this, is you hope that maybe the lane you take is going to be clear when you get there. So I can't tell you the 5 has left pit road. And with all the penalties and everything, it was about a minute and a half that he was stuck on pit road, unfortunately. So that's going to be a tough one. Obviously, now down those 5 laps as we speak. So, but again, though, still a lot can happen. Looking to see. Actually, I think we have. Yeah, I think Raphael's working. Craig hasn't got him yet.
Let's take a watch at how these cars enter turn 3. Everybody is just very much heavy lifting. The tires are completely worn. You can see everyone's very much checking up on the entry. Raphael gets on the apron actually.
Boy.
I wonder if he was kind of misplaced exactly how everyone else was stopping. But I'm watching the cars in the lead, especially. They're all very much checking up, going the single file line into turn 3, and that's not so much a fuel save. That's the tires are going off, and they're not going to make the corner if they try and take that low line anymore. So you can see a lot of the cars are checking up and trying to find an entry into turn 3 right now, which is very characteristic of Kentucky when it's a little bit more flat on that side of the track.
Yeah, right now the guy in the best speed-wise is up to tell. Bill Colley off track. He's doing doing some pretty big off-roading. He's going to try to catch it. Unfortunately, that's going to give him that unsafe penalty, and actually he's going to take a quick jump to the pit as well. We do stay green, but I was about to mention was this guy right here, the Raphael Eckert. He's been running in the lower 24-second bracket compared to the other field. So Matt leading ran a 24.88. Raphael, the previous lap was a 24.70. This time 24.76. So he's been about a tenth of a second quicker. So it's definitely going the right way for him. I mean, he's only 3.5 seconds off kind of catching the back of this field in the draft. And again, that's starting from the pits. So I got to give a shout out to Raphael. He's done a really good job this opening stint, and I think he's going to get to this pack here maybe after this pit cycle. I'd expect to see him right up there with him. I
think you see that the lap times are starting to kind of fall a little bit, maybe about a half second or so.
Yeah, about
Raphael
a half.
But Raphael is running in clean air all by himself. And yeah, as I was mentioning before with the turn 3 situation, a lot of these cars are backing off, trying to make sure they make the corner. So that's actually obviously losing them a little bit of lap time. And I think that's going to really just bring anyone that's kind of flailing around maybe 2 seconds back an opportunity to catch back up again.
Yeah, now it's starting to spread out just like you were talking about, just due to the wear. And so now we've really gotten to the clean air is king situation, because Matt's got about a half a second on Yari. Yari's got about a half a second on Eric Peterson. It's a little closer to Craig Forsyth, I think a quarter second. Then Gary Laverne's about a second back and now under attack from Casey Pahutsky. Jim Herrick's right there as well. So now we're starting to see who's been able to kind of keep their equipment in better shape. And right now it actually seems like I said, Casey's done a good job now. He's up 4 spots. So maybe he kind of went easy early, and now he's really trying to capitalize on it. As you see Jim Herrick trying to work the outside as well of Gary. And I'll say, again, inside line's going to prevail for now. But again, I think Jim is going to be looking for that momentum here out of 2 on Gary.
We've reached lap 44 now, so this is an easy 2-stop for everyone.
Yeah, windows should be open from here.
It's not going to be a fuel save whatsoever unless we have a late caution of some sort that makes it such. But let's keep watch of what lap we're pitting on here, because then we'll know if it's going to be a fuel save for any one of these cases. So if, let's say, there's a caution on, say, lap 78, 79, then it will be somewhat of a fuel save to make it to the end. But otherwise, if we go green the whole way, we're going to be good. So I think Elmer Joseph is the first to pit. Eric Peterson's
first
also
of our leaders. Yep. So Peterson's the first to blink. Raphael Eckert's going to come on with him. He had just caught the back of that pack, so I actually really like this because he's going to jump in without any dirty air, basically starting to kill his tires. And he probably, of course, is running pretty hard to catch everybody. Maybe run that full map once. So now we'll jump over to our leaders, and here they come. Oh, Yari, Matt, watch your mirrors. Oh, my goodness.
What a pit stop entry by Yari. Holy cow, that was crazy. I was actually, when it was my turn to speak, I was going to say this is another track where you can easily misjudge the pit entry, and we just I didn't have to say it. Yari just kind of proved it for us. So I think he definitely got it stopped in time, and I don't think he lost any time in the process as well. So
I think he got away with that. I think, yeah, man. However, Craig Forsyth, he's going to pick up a lap lead here because he, again, is going to probably save a little bit of fuel. And so that's going to leave about 4 of the front runners here with Casey Pahutsky, Gary Laverne, Jim Herrick. Up there, Jeff Heisong as well, then Nick DeGroot. But again, Nick's unfortunately a fair bit back from these guys, which, again, not something we expect to see very often. And yeah, so he's going to keep on going. Putski is in. Looks like a nice clean entry, especially compared to Yari. So yeah, so Craig going to continue on there. And again, now if you start watching the ticker on the left side, a lot of drivers are at the moment trapped a lap down. You see Craig, he's signaling he's going to hit pit road there. So we'll see that 99 in, and then most likely we'll see Gary Laverne, Jim Herrick. Actually, Gary's slowing down. I wonder if Gary might be out of fuel, or maybe just not wanting to take any too big risks here. Jeff Heisong in as well. And I was proven wrong about Craig. He's actually going to continue on his way to run another lap.
One thing I do want to mention that's very unique to Kentucky is that you could pit and come out and still run similar lap times to what the leaders are doing just because of the topography of this track. You have one side of the track that's very, very, very flat, and one side that's very banked. So you don't necessarily need a huge draft in order to stay with the pack or anything. So I'm wondering if, since the first pit sequence was a little later than we expected, maybe we try and see if someone pits early to try and get a bit of a jump on other folks that hadn't necessarily pit yet. And I mean, that can go the opposite way too for someone like Pahutski or Forsyth, as we see right now.
And that was Jim Herrick cut that close. So hopefully
that
got
was
down
a little
speed.
Close, yeah. If these guys want a short stint, maybe perhaps not necessarily go short, but wait for everyone to do their pit stop cycle and kind of run their own race and run their own situation. Perhaps they could actually jump some of the cars ahead and get some track position and not save any fuel later on.
Yeah, so right now there's one driver that's really rooting for a yellow right now, and that's that green and black car in front of Matt Wagner, who may or may not cycle around as leader. We'll see how quick Craig's able to get out of pit road.
Craig is still sitting in his box, and I'm sorry, that's Jim Herrick.
So Jim got a pit penalty, unfortunately. And Matt's going to look to the inside of Jim Brooks, which will unfortunately put him back to 2 laps down. And like I was saying, actually, is he 1 down now? Okay, maybe actually just 1 down. I think he was tail end lead lap at the time. So like I said, Jim was probably rooting for a quick yellow there to get himself back on the lead lap, get back on the cycle here. However, he is the first car 1 down, so the problem is he pitted at lap 13, so he can probably only go another, I would say, maybe another 10 laps or so, as he's also been running by himself a lot too. So, and this also does show a little bit of the tire wear, new versus old tires. Although as soon as I say that, he gets a great run out of 4 against Eric Peterson. So, yeah, right now field's spreading out a little bit. We've got the top 4 together, but then they've been able to separate themselves off of Casey Putski in 5th.
Check out Jim Brooks. He's a lap down, but he's trying to get his lap back. And we saw the line that Jim Brooks was running before, and it's not really paying off right now because everyone's kind of going under him in turn 3 and 4. But hey, if he has the opportunity to try and make a move on the outside, he's going to do it. So maybe we have some more Jim Brooks action we could check out.
Yeah, and I think what you could do now, honestly, for me, I'm thinking is save some fuel. If you can't make the moves around them, keep running the line you're running, but then when you're in the draft, just bump that fuel map down, just in the case of being able to maybe, again, go that little bit longer. And I also think he's probably not wanting to kind of spoil the lead lap runners here too much. So, yeah, I think you see he's going up top, let Craig swing on by there, as actually Craig puts down the fastest lap of the race that last time with a 24:41. 0.4 of a second quicker than Matt Wagner that last lap there. And then also, yeah, Craig's got he went 5 laps longer than the rest of these guys. So we'll see if that tire wear starts to come into play as well for those guys. So, but yeah, so right now as it stands, though, again, we still have 12 cars on the lead lap. The last 2 on the lead lap are, let's see, where are they in relation to leaders? It's Nick DeGroot and William Swenson. And they are coming out of 4 as the leaders enter 3. So there's a little bit of breathing room, not a ton. But like I said, though, the 51 car right now, he's going to definitely be rooting for some sort of a yellow. And actually, as I said, he's on pit road now. So that'll put him at least back to 2 down, which will actually then promote Jim Herrick to the first car 1 down. Because, yeah, Jim had a pit penalty, as well as Elmer Joseph. Both those guys had over 50-second pit stops. And yeah, then that's just, again, to add to that I think it's like a 40-second hold on top of the penalty, or on top of the pit stop, I should say. So, unfortunately, it's a tough break for the 2 of them.
Eric Peterson's been very impressive the last couple weeks. I'm not sure if you've noticed this, but he has been right up in the mix the last couple races, and he is battling these guys that are proven race winners in this series, showing that he's here to race. And he passed Matt Wagner and kind of commanded the line there through 3 and 4, and he's taking the lead, and he's kind of pulling away a little bit, actually. That'll change, obviously, as they go through 1 and 2, but I'm impressed by what Eric Peterson's showing tonight. Maybe some of the bad luck that he's had in some races that we've called is kind of flown away a little bit. He's learned a little bit from some of his mistakes, and I'm happy to see him kind of running up front right now.
Yeah, it's a good run, like I said. Yeah, and he, while he was leading there, we saw Matt Wagner and Jari Brupacher were fighting a little bit. I think it kind of messed up Yari's momentum a bit. Craig capitalized on him. Now he's going after Matt as well. Again, those are the 2 championship contenders. So Matt, again, it's not in his personality, but he could make Craig like, hey, how hard do you really want to fight me for this spot here? Then maybe try to hold him back a little bit. So we'll keep an eye on those guys. I'm going to drop back about 5 seconds because Raphael Eckert, he's gotten around this group of cars here, including Gary Laverne, Casey Pahutsky, and Jeff Heisong, all right there together. So this is a 4-card pack here together, about 5 seconds back off the lead. And we had mentioned Raphael starting from the pits. He had just gotten to the back of that field when he had pitted, but unfortunately so far hasn't really kind of gone to play for him like he would have hoped after the pit stop cycle. But again, I'll keep an eye on him because last time by, he ran a 24.60, this time 24.75. So he was a 1/10 of a second quicker than Eric Peterson. So there's still potential that maybe he can still kind of pull himself over this fuel run back up to them. But now with that's kind of the field starting to shrink in the little packs here, I feel like that the big time games we're not going to see as much as we saw earlier.
Well, if they all stay in line, Rafi Eckert is actually running a little bit faster, he could drag that whole group up with him, especially if these guys up here are kind of just staying single file and trying to stay out of each other's dirty air. It's quite possible that he could bring the whole group back up there again. It's five seconds or so behind that pack, so it's tough to do that, but you never know what'll happen later on, especially if this front pack starts to slow down a little bit. But I think Eric is happy to be out front, and he just wants to run as fast as he possibly can, especially if he knows that you could do this race on 2 easy stops.
Yeah, exactly right. So yeah, I mean, we at this point we know there's only one more stop here to the end, and I mean everybody went at least 45 laps, and we talked about 44 being, 43 being the magic number to basically get to lap 125. So basically pit at 43.86. That'll get you to that number there at the end. So yeah, right now I think everybody's going to be plenty good to get to that 125 marker, and it's just the other question mark is, does anybody blink early? Like I said, short pit, or like I said, we saw Craig go 5 laps longer than the rest of these guys. So he does have slightly fresher tires, but I don't think it's probably enough to make a big enough difference for him. However, again, we talk about what Craig can do is maybe now that he's in this nice little pocket, maybe just throwing a whole bunch of fuel save on where that final stop, maybe he can put, again, maybe a half a gallon less than these guys, and that's just going to shorten that final pit stop for him. So there's definitely some pros to kind of just rolling where he is at the moment.
I think that second group will be the ones we should watch to get to the end. They're kind of just sitting here 5 seconds back. Perhaps they can do something a little different to try and jump in a little bit early and pick up maybe 2 seconds on the front pack to try and get it ahead. But you put yourself at such a huge risk of a caution happening during the actual pit stop cycle that traps you a lap down. So it's a risk, but it's something that these guys in the second pack might be willing to take in order to get some track position.
And I mean, he is starting to trim that gap down. It's last 2 times he's been over about a tenth to 2/10 quicker. This time by it was a 24.75 for Raphael to a 24.89 for Eric Peterson. So about a 1/10.5 there. So I mean, he is getting there again. It's still about 6 seconds between he and Jari Brupacher. So again, he needs to get another pretty much 3 seconds to start to get into that magic draft window, if you will. So he's still got plenty of time to get there, and obviously he's going to really work hard. He's going to now be kind of watching his mirror because Gary Laverne is putting a ton of pressure on the back of him. So this is one of those things too where you got to start working together, make sure you don't kind of get too much pressure and start mirror driving almost, if you will, as well. So however, I think track is not big enough to really be able to pull that swap draft strategy off either.
Yeah, it's not really a feasible situation here because of how flat turn 3 and 4 is. But I think that as long as these guys kind of stay in line, it depends on which track is doing the pack a little bit differently. If you move your way forward, which the second pack seems to be doing, then these guys will slow.
Yeah, it does seem like it's a slowly but surely. Because I talk about 4.6. I was thinking again at that time about 4.4 or so to Yari. Actually, this time it's looking like it's going even closer. But man, let's run a lap here with Raphael because he is running a very tight line to that white line in 3 and 4, and he washes inches off the wall there at a 4.
It's every inch counts. So I think Rafi is really trying to run the fastest laps that he can. He's running qualifying laps right now, trying to catch that pack up ahead. These guys in the second pack definitely had a rougher pit stop sequence than the first time around than the guys up ahead. So they're doing a really good job of staying line to stern right now and not really battling each other. They know that Rafi will bring them up as close as they possibly can for the next pit stop cycle.
And the other thing you notice, you can see he is not touching 6th gear. He's just staying completely 5th all the way through. I think he may have heard me saying he was flirting with the wall because now he's been giving himself a little bit of leeway. And lap time wise, though, he's pretty much lap after lap. He has been quicker, though, than Eric Peterson. This time is about 0.13 tenths of a second quicker. And he can see them as they enter turn number 3. He can see them down the backstretch. So it's just that little extra incentive. And I mean, if he's lifting right now, Andrew, it is not much.
Watching some of these cars towards the back, they're really trying to do what they can to make up any sort of spots. From watching Nick DeGroot, and he's been plagued with internet connection issues tonight, so he's not a factor, but he's really giving everything he got. He's going to try and stay on the lead lap here and try and make up as many spots as he can. As we know, Nick is one of those guys who's never giving up, and he's made up actually quite a bit of time on the leaders, the lead pack, but it's not going to be a Nick DeGroot night like we're used to seeing.
Yeah, he might have to try to finish strong at Auto Club Speedway next week for the season finale. Hopefully he'll be there. So that's going to be a really fun race. So that's one of those ones where if I wasn't broadcasting, I would definitely be marking that one on my calendar to run. So yeah, that's going to be a really fun one to watch. Again, still watching lap times, and it continues to still keep ticking the right way. I'm showing about 3.7 seconds now between Raphael and Yari. So like I said, little by little it's getting there. But also you mentioned Peterson. I mean, he's got almost half a second on Matt Wagner now. So he's been able to stretch that gap out. And now Craig's kind of the one putting some pressure on Matt here for that runner-up spot. So right now they're starting to slowly but surely kind of separate from each other a little bit. Yari's about half a second off of Craig. And the other thing that's about to happen is this probably will change things a bit. Eric Peterson's just about to start getting some dirty air from some lap traffic in front of him.
Well, we're reaching that lap 80 right now where we're starting to consider our next pit stop situation. So I'm wondering if some of these guys in the second pack, anyone that's behind Raphael Eckert, tries to consider maybe coming in and doing their pit stop early to try and pick up some track position. So we'll keep our eye out for the next lap or two to see if someone wants to dive in early to try and pick up some track position to catch this front pack.
Yeah, because they said, 45 to go here at the line. We know pretty much everybody went 45 minimum on the last one. So pretty much at this point on, the window should be open. I don't even wonder about the second pack. I wonder about the first pack here. Does someone in this top 4 here, I mean, for me, if I'm Yari, this might be an opportunity to do something different, jump in, because you don't know how these guys are going to react to this dirty air here from these cars in front. So this could be a good opportunity to try to do something different and kind of do that undercut, if you will. Because, yeah, I mean, I'm, again, looking at the timing scoring. Raphael's only 4.5 seconds now out of the lead, under 3 seconds to Yari, who's starting to drop the pace off of Craig, Matt, and Eric. So, and you can see now Eric is fully in this dirty air from the lap cars in front of him.
Well, that's something you have to consider also, is that if you pit now, if you're in this lead pack, you may come out somewhat close to these guys that you're getting ready to lap. So it may be one of those things where you hope that they have a rougher pit stop than you, that you possibly can jump them coming on later. But yeah, you're right. Eric is definitely in the dirty air of these cars that he's trying to lap right now. Looks like he's making quick work of Elmer Joseph on the bottom here. But this is prime opportunity for that second pack to try and make up some time and track position if they were to pit early. But I think at this point, the window's quickly closing on that. So I think that
Oh, caution. And oh, it looks like it's the 5 Rick Sanchez. Yeah, he's going to roll to pit road. So honestly, good nobody listened to us, because that would have trapped a lot of cars a lap down there. The beneficiary of this one, though, I believe, is going to go to a Mr. Jim Herrick in that 4D machine, the 40 racer machine. So he's going to catch up the field. The field's all going to get caught back up. Actually, no, I lied. Oh no, I'm sorry. Yeah, Joseph went to 3 down. I thought they were putting him down for the first time. So that's gonna bring up the caution. Let's go back and we'll take a look. We'll focus on that number 5, and it looks like it's, like you said, maybe the weight jacker one more time here situation, because this car just looks like it steps out through 3 and 4.
I think that the pit stop strategy that we were talking about earlier is, as much as it was looking to be just one more stop, I think everyone's going for one more stop right now. So let's see what happens on this pit stop. Let's see if Eric Peterson can hold the lead here.
Yeah, now it's going to be how well you can get into your pit box. Don't overshoot it. Don't have to throw it into a reverse. And then who needs the least amount of fuel as well? If you're waiting on fuel, advantage could go to this number 99 car, because again, he pitted 5 laps later than everybody else. So this will be intriguing to see kind of who's able to make those jumps. But Eric Peterson also, he does have that number 1 pit stall, so he's going to have the shortest jump from the stall to the exit line.
Looks like everyone's got into their box nicely. No one really overshot their pit box. So the only thing that I want to, we see that Matt actually is challenging here, but because there's not that much of a fuel strategy here, 5 laps, everyone's kind of got the same amount of fuel to put in that might be close to the tire change. So we see that Eric was able to actually keep the lead there. But I think we're just going to run here flat to the end. And some of these guys that were sitting towards the back trying to just maintain their position may not want to do that anymore.
Yeah, this is where it's gonna definitely get more aggressive. So before that all happens, we'll step away for a brief moment, pull up our sponsor 40 Racer, and we'll be right back.
40 Racewear, makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racing by sim racers. 40 racing shoes are engineered to connect racers to the pedals in a way no other racing shoe can, all the while giving you the comfort needed to complete those double and triple stints. Visit 40racewear.com and check out the latest sim racing products that let you connect to your sim.
All right, lights are off of the pace car. Say, unfortunately, there was a connectivity issue for this Yari Brewpocker fella, so he fell out. He's back in though. Love these guys sticking it out, and I think actually out of all that, only lost a lap, so not too bad. And say so, the I'll say one of those ones where the beneficiary of a lucky dog would go to Yari at this point if there's another yellow, which the 51 is thinking, all right, I'm in the ideal spot, and now he's like, nope, I gotta worry about Yari now too. So yeah, so right now everybody went ahead and pitted. Nobody did stayed out for a wave round. Jim Herrick is back on the lead lap, so that's going to put 12 cars on the lead lap here. But I think, to me right now, Andrew, the story is going to be that 064 Raphael Eckert, he is now up into the 4th position, again starting from the pits in this race. I'll be interested to see what he can do here, because again, he's had a lot of pace, especially on the long run. And yeah, this is going to be kicking off now, because fuel's out of the question. These guys basically are going to be going for the win here at the end.
I'm interested to see when Eric actually goes, because Eric Peterson is not used to leading up front here. So we'll see if he goes early, goes late, figures it out. But we'll see how the guys behind react here.
And you see Nick DeGroot there on the bottom. I saw him have a little bit of some blinking issues there, unfortunately, as they come out of 4. Come to start finish line, they are down and away. So far, so good. Looks like no according dramas. We do have there's a 3 wide there entering turn 1. And right now everybody's behaving. But it looks like everything's going to come through clean there. But we'll jump back up front, because again, those first lappers so after restart is always when that leader's the most vulnerable. And right now Peterson's done a great job to hang on to it.
Yeah, we've got a little squirrely at the back of the field here, but it seems like everyone's kind of made it work. No real problems, no incidents or anything. So I'm watching Casey Pahutsky make his move here on Raphael Reynolds. He moves his way up to P6 now.
Yeah, Raphael's going to try to run that top side. It's like Casey's going top 2, so Raphael's got to go really high. And he got some good momentum out of there. That number 13 car, he's going to try to work that outside. But again, shorter distance should prevail through here in 1 and 2.
It looks like Eric Peterson still holding on to the lead from Matt Wagner, P2. Craig Forsyth is not going to just let these 2 guys run away. So I think that he's going to try and make the move here. Fuel's not a question anymore, so these guys are really going for it.
Yeah, Raphael's gotten to the inside of Casey Pahutsky. Can he stay alongside, or is he going to close the door? Nope, he can stay to the inside, so Raphael's going to try to grab that 6th spot. He has it at the moment, but these guys have been flipping it back and forth, and there's the crossover entering 3.
Very, very close. And it was close again, and we see that Jeff Hysong is definitely ready to make some moves here. So these 3 are battling for the bottom part of the top 10 here, and we have about still 33 laps to go, so plenty of time for these guys to sort it out.
Yeah, and up front, these guys throw him under a blanket. You see Eric on the inside. You can't even see Matt. There's Matt. He pops out from the side. Craig now jumps to the top side. Now you've got the top 5 all within a blanket here. Matt's going to again get a big run. He's going to jump top. Eric, of course, has to protect the bottom here. But again, at what point does that outside line maybe start to prevail? Look at Raphael Eckert. He just went way up to the top side, pick up some big momentum. Jim Herrick just got the wave round. He just ran the fastest lap of the race. And yeah, it's all starting to happen here as Raphael runs high again. Gary Laverne's going to jump to the inside. But Matt once more here. He's going to side by side here entering turn 1.
Nick DeGroot is making his presence known as well. He got by both Casey Pahutsky and Jeff Hysong on the last lap. He's managed to find the perfect amount of clean air to make his way forward, and now he's going to be challenging Raphael Reynolds for P6. Don't count Nick DeGroot out of this yet.
Yeah, we're joking. Oh, maybe just a little kiss of the wall for Raphael Eckert there, but he's going to start to, again, he's going to have to just regroup a little bit, but yeah, we're joking during the break there. Maybe now Nick DeGroot would take the sandbags off and start to go after it, like I said, now that the connections have settled in and everything. But I say, obviously, Gary's got a lot of racing in front of him that he's trying to focus on getting around the 64. But, man, he's got a really great view of this fight for the lead going on with these top 2, top 3 cars with Peterson and Wagner, Forsyth all together there. This is going to be, like I said, this is a full-out fight here to the end.
Nick DeGroot was faster than all 5 of the top 5 up ahead of him last laps, and he's not done yet. I think he's on his way forward, like you said, and he's gonna hit some dirty air here, but I think he's gonna put himself right into this conversation for the race win later on.
Yeah, but of the drivers that can adjust their car and their positions and driving styles to work through the dirty air, I feel like Nick DeGroot's one of the best. So I think, yeah, he's not done. He's got a top 5. He's got a podium in his sights, and he's going to be going for it, especially when the top 3 are battling like they are right now.
I'm watching Eric Peterson really trying to defend this lead here, and he was defending the inside on the last lap, and he managed to kind of throw a little bit of a wrench in the gears to the cars behind him, but that allowed Nick to close in, and now Nick is right in this conversation here in the top 6.
Yeah, no, Nick's working on Gary Laverne there. He's going to stay to the outside. It's now Eric Peterson, Matt Wagner has just a nose ahead there, entering 3. Again, Eric's got the shorter distance, but now Matt's going to start to slowly but surely. That momentum is going to continue to build on the outside line, and this time at the line, Matt has the lead. I don't think he's cleared yet, but that just shows, I think, that momentum we talked about on the outside through 3 and 4, it's definitely going to come into play.
I think that Matt is really trying that outside line to great effect. Rafi Eckert is really trying to make his presence known here, but Matt has to throw the block on him to close that line off, which allows Eric to keep the lead for another lap.
Yeah, I mean, these guys are having to watch forward and behind and everything all at the same time right now. Yeah, this has just gone to full-on brawl here now with 25 to go. And again, it's not going to just be these 5. You go all the way back to Jim Herrick again, who got the wave round. He's right back into the top 10 in this thing. So, and oh my God, look at these guys all spreading out there.
You see Craig Forsyth got loose right on 3 and 4 there. He tried the inside line entering turn 3, which is not the best line to take, especially with the flattened side of the track there.
Look at Eckert.
It looks like Eckert's throwing himself right into the mix here, and he has put himself around the outside of Eric Peterson, but Eric is holding a great defensive line here on these closing laps as well. But Nick is starting to have a little bit of connection issues again, as we see.
Yeah, as we're on the top side, then we saw body panels flying off, but it's all better now. But yeah, no, Eckert got in the middle between Matt Wagner and Eric Peterson, just threaded the gap there, and right in the mix. And you can see right there, he's going to try to steal some draft, jump right back to the top there in that 64. Craig's got to regroup and try to close back up again. But again, for Craig, it's still a bit of a risk versus reward race here. Maybe a little too high there for Nick DeGroot. But as I say that, though, great exit for him as Eckert and Peterson going tooth and nail here.
Top 10 are all throw them all under a blanket, as you would say there, Gael. Eric Peterson is doing this to perfection, but these guys are looking to put themselves into a situation where a wreck might happen, and we might see another caution. I really hope not, but some of these guys are really trying to make their moves now. They're trying to make their moves, and they're trying to make them now.
Yeah, I know. I'll say, because next time by, we are down to 20 to go. I say we're going to jump a little further back because here's a great battle. Jeff Heisong, Gary Laverne. Heisong got tight there in 1-2, able to hang on to it, though. And yeah, like I said, I mean, there's battles everywhere right now. DeGroot's still fighting with Matt Wagner. Oh, DeGroot, I think, kissed the wall there in 4. That was definitely too big of a hit. I think the car will be fine, but definitely a lot of momentum lost. You see Craig's worked his way back up to 5th, and now he's going to try to see if he can get back around Nick here to grab that 4th spot once more.
I can't say enough about Eric Peterson and his defensive skills. He's holding that bottom line like nobody's business. He wants to win this race, and he is showing everyone that he has come to play tonight. So it's up to everyone else to try and find the proper line coming through here. Gary Laverne goes very high in turn 4, and Jim
Eckert's got him. Eckert just got the move done. I say he ran a really high line there through 3 and 4, got the momentum to stick. He's going to, looks like, open the bottom here for Peterson, though, so maybe Raphael says, you know what, I actually like this top side. Starting to feel a little bit more confident about it, so I wonder maybe also the tires have started to turn a little bit where the shorter distance might not have that momentum out of 4, because, again, you can see Eckert able to pull away, so I think Raphael's, again, I think those tires have started to come in for him now in that 64.
I think it's one of those things where Eric might have seen that, and he might have said, okay, maybe I got to jump to the high side eventually, but no, he's staying on the bottom right now, and as long as he throws it in there and it keeps a proper line, he can get through 3 and 4 just fine. But you're right, I think the high side is starting to come in just a little bit, so Eric needs to find a way to throw that high side into it there and not just go for the inside every time. Craig Forsyth's making the move on the inside right now.
Oh, he's trying to get 2 for 1.
It looks like Rafi might have made a mistake there. I don't know if he touched the apron or something like that, but Eric is going to try that high side now.
Oh, my goodness. 3 wide there for a moment there. Craig rolled out of it. And, yeah, you're right, though. So now Eric's got a little bit of breathing room. Nick DeGroot's going to go back after Craig here for that 4th spot. But, yeah, so I said this is now Eric's got a little bit of breathing room now. This is where now he needs to try to see if he can, like I said, find a way to maybe get to the outside of that 64. If the 64 opens it up even just an inch here, and yeah, there he goes. He's going to peek to the outside. But again, if he hasn't run it, it's going to take him probably a couple laps to find that right adjustment to see, okay, where do I need to position it? When can I stomp back on the throttle? Do I need to change weight jackers, ARBs? So he's going to have to be doing some quick adjusting on the fly here in these final 15 laps.
I think Eric kind of showed his cards a little bit too early trying to defend there because his tires are probably completely going off right now. So that high side might be good for a couple laps, but it's going to be very difficult for him to get right back by him again. So I wonder if the tires are cooked on that one, but it may not be the same story for some of these guys sitting P4, 5, 6 that may want to try that high side to pick up a couple more spots, especially if he starts to struggle on his tires.
Yeah, Matt Wagner trying to work around Peterson, but again, though, Peterson's got the draft down the backstretch. And this is also where Eckert can kind of work both lanes. And, ton of dirty air there for Peterson. That's going to cost him a ton of momentum. Craig gets by Matt Wagner. Now Matt's going to have to fight with Nick DeGroot as well. So maybe Craig, again, he had that moment out of 4 in 3 where he got really loose, but now maybe he can try to capitalize and see if he can work around that number 36 to have a chance for the win. But, man, these guys, everybody's jumping around trying to find these places to be, as now Craig's going to get the dirty air, I think, from the 64. Matt's going to get that spot back again.
We have a lap car of Rick Sanchez up ahead that's kind of throwing a wrench into some of these guys' plans as well, so that may shake things up a little bit. The leader gets by him, but I wonder if the rest of these cars are easily going to get by him or if he's got to basically pull over and stop to make sure that everyone gets by safely.
Yeah, you can see he's giving plenty of room, though, so I think he's trying to let these guys all go safely on by. And again, I mean, like you said, you can't just disappear, unfortunately, so as much as he probably wants to let these guys by, I mean, he's trying to give all the room he can, and this is actually about the ideal spot here through 3 and 4 to be able to, or through 1 and 2, I'm sorry, to let that happen. So now the top 5 are all back clear. But again, though, I mean, with all that, though, like you said, Rafael, he's got about a half a second gap, 0.6 of a second gap, and he seems to be the strongest from what I'm seeing through 3 and 4 now. He put 2/10 on Peterson just that turn alone.
I think we're getting to the point now where the tires are starting to scream on all these cars, so I'm not really sure if we're going to see a lot more passing as we come 10 laps to go in this race, but I think we're going to see what is in store for especially the rest of this podium here, because these guys are not giving up and they're giving it all they can in order to try and get the best position they possibly can and see if any vulnerabilities are in the cars up ahead.
Yeah, you see Matt here is going to try to take a peek on the inside of Peterson. He will grab that spot. So now can Matt do something here? Again, he's still got 9 laps to go, 8 at the line. So now, again, Matt's going to have to try to figure out what he needs to do to try to close that gap down. Like I said, I think maybe Peterson, having to protect the bottom for so long, probably used his tires up a little harder possibly than some of the other guys. So again, lap time-wise, and oh man, Matt was 2.5 tenths quicker than Rafael that previous lap. A 76 for Rafael, 50 for Matt. So yeah, this thing's still out to play for.
What a move by Nick DeGroot there. He was barely clear of Forsyth, no contact, and he manages to get 2 cars in 1 corner. Maybe not Peterson yet, but I think, as we mentioned, I think Peterson's tires might be roasted by now. So I think the defensive maneuvers that Peterson was doing there was a little too early for him to try and steal this win here and even get on the podium tonight. But we'll see what happens as Nick continues to move his way forward. But Matt is starting to close a little bit on Eckert. Nick gets high, touches the wall there.
Peterson's going to go back after him. Oh, caution is out. And, it's Jari Brupacher towards the back here. That's going to bring out our yellow.
Well.
Oh, no. Let's go take a look, see where it all kicked off. And that's going to make things, let's focus on Rafael Reynolds. I think that's actually where it began. You already see he's high here. He's going to catch the wall. Jim Herrick, he bounces off him. Oh, my goodness. And then so you see Gary Laverne here. That's all he sees in front of him. I think it's actually two separate incidents. I think this is what brought the yellow out, and then Yari actually gets loose. Let's go back up on Yari here. So I wonder if something happened with him. No, he just gets loose here.
Very similar to Rick Sanchez.
Yeah, spot on there. So this will bring the yellow out. I do believe we will get a restart here because we're still 5 to go, even with the caution lap. So this is a tough decision to make, track position versus tires. I think pretty much if you're Raphael, anything you do, there's a good chance everybody around you is going to do the opposite. But I think if you're leading, I feel like you have to stay out for that clean air.
Well, that answers your question. Looks like Raphael is coming in unless he fakes.
Yeah, he's got to fake it. Matt's staying out. And
if I were Eric Peterson, I would come in. Yep. I would say Eric Peterson was the first person that came to mind that says you need to come in and get new tires because you've completely ruined your race by staying up front and defending as much as you have. So I'm not surprised there, but he managed to bring pretty much most of the field in with him here.
Yeah, so if he can win this race off period, he will restart in, it looks like, 6th position. So really not a big drop overall. And I didn't see Craig's car jump up. No, it did. Okay. Oh, but was Jeff Heisong short on fuel? Because he had a 4-second pit stop in the 18 car. This one I'm confused about because there are no green-white checkers here. So basically, when we get the restart, that's all there's going to be. So yeah, this is also going to be very intriguing, and this is where things get a little nerve-wracking. And actually, it looks like with everything that went on, I thought Yari was going to get kind of involved in the incident for the caution, but actually he did get the wave around. So Yari actually in the 49, he's back on the lead lap now in 12th. He hopefully has a fast repair because you can see that left front wing is missing. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. Or, I mean, that could just, if it's just the wing, I say he can get that. Obviously, I think it adds about 5 seconds to the pit stop. So that's, yeah, I'm intrigued by the 18 car, though. Maybe he short-filled it and it was a little shorter than he was expecting. Maybe didn't expect it to go green to the end. So, but as I say that, he's coming right back in. So not sure for Jeff Heisong there. But that's obviously a good benefit here for Peterson, though, because now that's going to give him one less car to fight with.
Well, the lights are still on the pace car, so we are going to go at least one more lap.
So we might just be a one-lap shootout then.
One-lap shootout, which is a very difficult thing to try and pass someone on the first lap.
Yeah.
Especially if you have cold tires.
Yeah, because, turn 3, that car's just not going to want to turn. So, yeah, that's probably not going to pan out for him very well. Again, you never know. Obviously, it depends on how the restart goes. And again, these guys haven't restarted on old tires either. So these guys got to make sure that they kind of maybe get a couple practice hits here to make sure that there's no issues for spinning the tires and looping it around. I mean, there's a lot that can happen. And with it being what we expect to be a green-white restart, they're also, as long as they cross start-finish line before anything happens, a caution won't come back out. So at the same time, too, Andrew, these guys are gonna have to be kind of quick on their seat and ready to go right off the kick. But again, I mean, Raphael, after that second pit stop, jumping all the way up to 4th position, to me, that's one of, I mean, obviously, first off, just getting as far up as he did after starting from the pits. But then, yeah, to be able to make the moves he did to be even in contention and then to get such a good pit stop. And, yeah, we're 1 to go here, Matt. I'm watching Matt there in the thing. 1 to go here, Andrew, with, yeah, this is going to be interesting here. So, for Raphael, just no mistakes on this restart. Maybe make some adjustments for that clean air if he hasn't already. And then this is where you start to get really nervous at those accordion effects on the restarts. Or again, so this will be basically, it won't be a green-white checkered. It's going to be literally a green checkered restart. So basically the green flag is going to fly with the white flag together. And then from there, it's going to be the 1.5 miles around the track. The only way a caution comes out is if there's an incident before the leaders cross the start-finish line. So that's job number one for some of these guys. And then, yeah, for Raphael here, just no mistakes. He's got control of this race, so he can choose to go as early or late as he wants to once the pace car's off the racing surface. And to me, strategy-wise, I would lean towards probably later being better, less time for anybody to attack. But again, you know Matt's going to be just all over the gearbox here as we going to restart, and he is down and away. Green flag's out, white flag is out, 1 to go here at Kentucky. Raphael Eckert safely here, got a couple tenths of a second over Matt Wagner. So far, no changes for position, and he's going to protect the bottom here. We'll see if that's going to hold. He's going to jump back up top, just breaking the draft here. Matt's going to have to try to see if he can make a big momentum shift through the top, but it's not going to be enough. Raphael Eckert going to get the win here tonight at Kentucky over Matt Wagner, Jim Herrick. And then at the line, Eric Peterson was just able to eke out that top 5. But it's going to be Raphael, Matt, Jim, our top 3, Gary Laverne 4th, and then Eric Peterson rounding out the top 5. But what a drive from this guy here in that 064 to be able to do everything that he did tonight to come out on top. So he's going to park it on the start-finish line, do some celebrating. Well-deserved run by that number 64 here to get the win at Kentucky. And so while he celebrates, we're going to jump over to our race results for tonight's event before we get to those interviews, as it will be Raphael Eckert over Matt Wagner, Jim Herrick, that top 3 we just talked about, Gary Laverne, Eric Peterson, and Brad Adams. Then Craig Forsyth, Nick DeGroot, Casey Husky, and William Svensson are top 10. Jeff Heisong, Yari Brupacher, the last of our lead lap finishers. I say, unfortunately, Jim Brooks just unable to recover from that off-road excursion earlier on, then off sequence during the pits. And then you have Raphael Reynolds there in the 013 car, 14th. Elmer Joseph, 15th. Rick Sanchez there in 16th. And unfortunately, an early retirement for Bill Colley there in the 17th spot. So what we are going to do now is we got to chat with some fellas. And we are going to find a Mr. Jim Herrick to kick things off. Let's go ahead and find that number 40 machine. It's going to bring Jim Herrick on in over here tonight. Jim started in 7th, brings it home 3rd. That was some pretty tight pack racing, and then it seemed like there was a point where the tires kind of said no more, and that's finally when the field started to maybe have a little bit of breathing room, spreading out a little bit. Take us through the race, because obviously a lot happening throughout the course of it. I mean, how much were you having to adjust and just fine tune the car throughout the fuel run and the tire run to kind of keep it as best as it could be?
Yeah, I didn't have too much trouble really. I liked when the car gets a little bit loose, it turns well for me, and that makes it fast. And I don't know why, I just seemed to be able to handle that low line in 3 and 4 better than everybody else, and that's really where I gained all my positions and all my time on track. Had a little bit of weight jacker adjustment to keep up with, but I found a pretty good bar setting and just pretty much stuck with it the whole race.
And it's always nice when the car stays nice and balanced, and like that for you. And I say that was going to be my other question. As you mentioned, you like the bottom there in 3 and 4. It seemed like there's also a group of guys that were just kind of almost committed, if you will, to the top through 3 and 4. We're almost kind of keeping the momentum built up. I mean, did you did you kind of play with both lines and that was where you felt the most comfortable, or is it just one of those ones where you kind of you ran the bottom and just like, you know what, I like this the most, I'm just going to keep running it?
Well, I was definitely quicker around the bottom, but that's the line where you really have to watch out for the car getting loose coming off the turn. Um, I ran the high line a couple times. I didn't really care for it too much. It was good if you had someone in front that was taking the low line and you had to, stay in the clean air. Could ride around there. It lets you carry a lot of momentum out of four, so that could potentially help you set up a pass down into the other end of the track. But um, I also, I think I owe your dad one there. He snuck in around that high line on me early in the race, and I didn't. I think possibly the green car was camouflaged with the wall, and I didn't see anything until the spotter said he was there, and might have been too late. I may have squeezed him into the wall there early, so apologize to him for that. But yeah, the high line it worked, but just wasn't the low line worked better for me.
No, saying yeah, you got to run the line that works the best for you, and I said, and we definitely saw a little bit of everything from the drivers, and of course, then you have to adjust as needed for clean air and all that too. And that's the other thing is, so obviously this with this reconfiguration, you've got the pretty much flat foot 1 and 2, and then you got to breathe it a little bit through 3 and 4. I mean, for 1 and 2, is it the same thing? Just try to run the bottom, or did you kind of maybe have to offset and then try to kind of maybe late apex it if you were kind of in the toe of somebody, or how did you make those adjustments there?
Yeah, I didn't have any trouble going in 1 and 2 with the bar and weight jacker settings I had. I could follow right down to the bottom and right up behind a car in front, and that wasn't an issue for me at all. 3 and 4, you definitely had to feather the throttle. I found that I could get out of the throttle early and get down to the low, down near the apex and then get back on the throttle early. And I think that, gave me a good run going into 1 and 2. But cutting the distance like that, um, you're able to, you could make a move on a car that was going around the higher lane. I don't know if they were just afraid of that you were going to push up and dive bomb, but I could really run it down to the apex and then even get on the brake a little bit just to slow the car and get it to rotate, and then drive it right out. And yeah, just I didn't have the issues that I normally do with the car getting loose coming off the corner, so it worked out for me today.
And then I'm not sure if Andrew's back yet or not, but I also want to verify. So I want to say that's
I'm here.
all right. So let's say before I throw it over to you, Andrew, I also want to verify Jim. I think you were the second to last restart where you were the wave round car, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, it was. I did the thing that I always do, which is speeding on pit road, and I guess I was really lucky because I didn't, even though it was a 40-second hold, I only went 1 lap down, and I think it was because I stayed long and was a lap up on everyone when I pitted. So the hold, it cost me 2 laps, but I went from 1 up to 1 down, and then was able to catch a lucky dog when we got that caution, and then had a really good drive through the field. I'm actually pretty proud of myself for making as many passes as I did and still having tires left at the end. So, uh, yeah, feel pretty good about that.
How did you feel that the traffic was in general, Jim, when it came to coming to the field? Did you feel like that one side of the track was easier to maneuver than the other one, or did you feel
No.
some extra sauce that you had that you were able to get through the pack, or was it a matter of just saving the tires for as much as you possibly could?
No, I wasn't really saving too much. I saved a lot of fuel in the first stint, which allowed me to go longer than everybody else. But yeah, tires, I burned them up. I was down to I think 54% on the right sides at that first stop. But in 1 and 2, there wasn't a whole lot you could do unless somebody went high or missed the apex and left the door open for you. You couldn't really pass too much there, but I could definitely do the thing in 3 and 4 where I dive down to the apex, and I was able to manage the car getting loose coming off and get around a few people that way. And that's where I made up most of my time.
I mean, like I said, it was a hell of a drive. Like you said, to be at the tail end on the restart, to get as far forward as he did, and then to be able to get all the way up to that podium. Like I said, it was a really, really good recovery. Obviously, like I said, you had pace all the way through it. So, great job tonight, Jim, and definitely want to give you the floor for any thanks and shouts for that podium tonight.
Yeah, thanks. I'll shout out to 4D Racewear, our sponsor. Everybody check out the original racing gloves for your feet, 4dracewear.com. Shout out to Craig Forsyth, my teammate, and give an extra shout out to Jim Brooks. I'm really sorry. I feel bad about that. I haven't looked at the footage yet to see if I actually did squeeze him or just made it close, but I felt bad seeing him drop out that early. And so shout out to Jim. Sorry about that. And shout out to you guys for doing the broadcast. Green White Checker TV, and Matt and Eric for putting on the league. So thanks to everybody. Have a great night.
All right, great job, Jim.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
All right, we're going to jump over one more position. That is going to be to this number 6 car of Matt Wagner. So we're going to grab him on in. Started in 4th, brings it home in 2nd. And Matt, you're in the thick of it pretty much from start to finish. And I mean, that last portion of the race prior to the restart at the very, very end, I mean, that was some pretty aggressive driving, some big moves being made by you, Raphael, Craig, and I mean, you were in the middle of a hornet's nest there at the end. It looked like it was pretty wild.
Y'all hear me? Okay. So yeah, it was pretty wild. I was kind of biding my time, just being a little bit patient. I was kind of more of kind of to see what Peterson would do, because Peterson has never won here in Area 51. So I gave him. I kind of sat back there and just kind of waited, and I tried to play a little bit of defense, just a little bit. I'm all good sportsmanship, but you know how I love first time winners. But it wasn't meant to be for Eric. He did have a plenty room there, but it was, man. But we were running out of time. I was watching Eckert, pull away, and then I had to, try and play catch up. I kind of wish that would have gone green to the rest of the way. I'm kind of interested to see what would have happened if I would have caught him there. But with that one lap there, that's going to be awfully rough to judge what line he's going to run there for come for what is pretty much just a one lap shootout. That's going to be tough, especially entering turn number 3 with worn tires. Man, so close yet so far.
How hard was it to pass tonight, Matt, in terms of when you were sitting in the pack trying to make your way forward, or if you were trying to maintain the lead, or if you were even trying to pass the leader in some circumstances? Was it difficult to really try and get any big runs anywhere, especially as the tires wore off, or did you have to make your moves as early as you possibly could and maintain?
What you just said right there, so before the tires get really worn and like pretty much melt like no other, you want to make your moves early in the run. If you don't make your moves early in the run, it's going to be very hard to pass coming to 3 and 4. It's awfully tough. It all depends how the leader runs his line. If he runs like a really high arc from top to bottom, it's going to be really tough to run a perfect line. So it's toward the end of that race, my tires were about 65% to the good. So I pretty much burnt them off trying to fend off and make moves on Peterson and Eckert there. But overall passing is pretty easy in the beginning of the run, but toward the end of the run, it's pretty tough.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely seemed like, yeah, once the tires started to wear, it definitely looked to be more of a challenge. But yeah, I mean, it was a lot of fun for us to watch, and like I said, the strategies, the lines you had to try to run to make the momentum shift and all that. So, yeah, again, great job tonight, man. Definitely one. Say don't hang your head on this one. It was another great result for you. So yeah, so I say one more to
I
go
ain't
after
worried about it.
tonight. So I definitely want to give you the floor though for any thanks and shout outs for that runner up this evening.
Well, let's make this quick. A shout out to everybody who showed up here tonight. It was I had great 17 drivers who showed up here tonight. Hi guys, I thank you very much for joining. Very good, clean racing. We only had 2 cautions, and we had a very good long run, which was absolutely fabulous. I kind of wish it was green to the end, like one of those super speedways, no caution type deals. I was looking forward to that, but as you know, at IndyCar, anything can happen here. So, kudos to all you guys. Shout out to TWRS. Shut up shop. Love you guys. Shout out to you guys in the booth. So yeah, it was a good race, man. Just nothing to hang up. Peterson, you're going to get one soon, brother. I feel it in my bones. He's been qualifying up front. I really think he's either going to win, probably the next race or next season. I feel it. It's going to happen.
Well, great job tonight, Matt. Looking forward to seeing you in the finale, and I'll say I look forward to seeing when we get things rolling again here for the next season, man. So go enjoy this one, and look forward to chatting with you soon.
Yep, there's big plans ahead, so guys, so stay tuned.
Thanks, Matt.
All right, so we've got one driver left to chat with, and that is going to be our race winner here tonight in that number 64. So we're going to bring Raphael on in. And man, off the bat, he said, good luck, everybody. But he should have been telling everybody else good luck because he was going to be going for the win tonight here, Andrew, and he did that. So, Raphael, my first question is, starting from the pits, was that a plan or what was the strategy there when, because you were there and then you jumped to the pits? So tell us about that part.
Good night. First, that was a really bad thing because I needed to go to pits to fix my audio balance and run
Sound
config.
balance, yeah. Yeah, I think you mentioned something about sound.
Yeah, really bad. I get in today for expecting a good race, better than the Sunday one on Dark Horse League, but now I can say that was a brilliant race. Going for the fastest run, possible run. The yellow flag helped a bit, but I got really close from the front pack. That make all the difference on the last laps. Our guys make a good race today. Really good battles. Clean racing, that was important. Now I can keep training to get back next week. Finishing here, thank you for my team partners, Camus in Racing and the Turner Martins. I think this is all, Andrew and Gael.
All right, well, I say we don't keep you too long, but no, again, just great job tonight, Raphael. Again, congratulations on the win. And yeah, you're right. I mean, you drove a great race to chase everybody down and get back into the mix of it. And honestly, even without the caution, I think you had a good chance to still go for that win. So, yeah, great job tonight, man. And also, I'll say if you want to thank anybody also in Brazil, I'll say feel free to go with your native language. I'll say if they're watching as well. I think he may have stepped away already. But I mean, just again though, Andrew, I mean, what a great drive from him though. Again, so starting from pits, not by choice. So it sounds like some audio balance issues that he wanted to try to get resolved. But I mean, yeah, he caught the main pack by those pit stop cycles and even with a caution, I think he had a genuine shot to win this race just on outright pace and from the pits. I mean, that's a hell of a drive by him tonight.
I think he was kind of mired in that second group, which was very difficult to try and close. So that caution definitely helped him quite a bit, but he knew exactly what he needed to do in the traffic, which was all the difference that he needed to try and pick up from where he probably could have contended had he not needed to do that initial pit stop.
Yeah, no, just a great drive by him. So yeah, so I mean, we got one to go. It's Auto Club next week. I say if you're around, it's a race you got to do. It. That track is just so much fun, and that's gonna crown our champion. Which I think at this point there's pretty much a no question because it's gonna be a 77-point gap between Craig Forsyth, Matt Wagner. We talked about max points being 55, so I think it's gonna be. Pretty much a clinching tonight for Craig, and he'll be able to do full celebration next week. Matt Wagner, he's got a pretty healthy lead over Gary Laverne, who did jump Charles Teed, unfortunately, and Charles missing that race. But I got to also commend Charles. Charles has ran 7 races compared to the top 3 in front of him running 10, and he's right there. I mean, well, not right there, but you know what I mean. I mean, for as many races as he hasn't been able to attend, that's a really good job by Charles. And so it's, a great job by him all season long as well.
I think that consistency means everything. And some of these guys that have had these up and down races where they win and then they finish 11th or 12th or DNF or something like that, it really pays to have some sort of consistency. So clearly the points show that he had enough finishes to hang in there and get some good points.
Yeah, I think if not just for some of those missed races that he wasn't able to attend, I mean, I think he's definitely in the conversation of championship battle between he and Madden and company. So, but just a really good run tonight. Obviously by Raphael and by all the guys. I mean, that fighting towards the end before that caution. I mean, we had no idea who was going to come out on top for a little while because those guys were just going tooth and nail there. That was great.
Unfortunately, I missed the end of the race there due to some connection problems, but I bet it was very fun to watch, and I hope you really enjoyed it.
No, yeah, it was a good time. But Andrew, as always, man, love doing these with you. Like I said, you're always on top of these things perfectly, and always love the insight that you're able to give. Like I said, 'cause you know these cars so well. So, but yeah, we're getting to it. We'll be back on Sunday night for the Super Speedway Truck Series. That will be their second to last race as well. And then of course, we'll be back on Thursday night. I forgot we're Tuesday. My schedule's all gone. I think that's going to be playoff race number 2, if I'm not mistaken, next on Thursday. And then we go over to Sunday. So yeah, still some more racing to come. We'll be crowning some champions on Tuesday night as well. So next week and then also next Sunday. So stay tuned for those. But Andrew, like I said, as always, appreciate you hopping on and doing these with me. Everybody that watches, supports us here at Green White Checker TV. Also, thank you. And yeah, we will be back again in just a couple nights' time. So until then, as always, take care, stay safe, and have a good night.